This episode is made possible by NetSuite by Oracle and Brex, the AI-powered spend platform.
Hello, this is Chip Zent, CFO of Deluxe, and you are listening to the CFO Thought Leader Podcast.
This is episode 981.
I like to ask questions, and it's a great way of finding out, bringing the discussion or elevating the discussion to something that can be problem solving. So I think the consistency of being interested in the business and how the business operates, how we deliver value to the consumer, I think that is more important than any one moment financial impact or so on, at least from my experience in the business.
Hi, it's Jack. On today's episode, we speak with Jakson Peters, CFO of TourRadar. Jakson Peters' journey from a humble beginning to becoming a global CFO is a tale of adaptability and continuous learning. Born in Curitiba, Brazil, Jackson's initial career expectations were far from the finance world, starting his working life in the family's milk delivery business. However, in the years to come, with an MBA in hand and a commitment to continuous learning, Peters would obtain multiple different CFO appointments on multiple continents. The career journey of CFO Jakson Peters begins after this. CFOs and controllers, does expense management feel like a necessary evil? It's time to switch to Brex. Brex automates and accelerates spend management with easy-to-use corporate cards, travel, expense management, and bill pay, all on one AI-powered platform. Brex makes it easy to boost efficiency and compliance enterprise-wide and free up your managers, employees, and accounting team for higher impact work. Top companies from startups to enterprises are using Brex to automate manual work and transform their finance operations. We're talking DoorDash, Robinhood, Airtable, and countless other industry leaders. Ready to join them? Switch to AI-powered spend management at Brex.com. Hello, we're speaking with Jakson Peters, CFO of TourRadar. Jakson, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jack. It's my pleasure to be here.
So good to have you with us. You have a really interesting resume. I want to say that up front to listeners. Jakson has lived in several parts of the world and actually has held CFO roles in several different parts of the world and different geographies. So we're interested in how he built such a unique and unusual career. It is unusual having interviewed as many finance leaders now that we have. We know that this is sort of a standout. But take us back. Where did your path to the CFO office begin in its earliest days?
Yeah, sure. Unlike many CFOs, I was never. I don't know accounting enough. I don't know how to do T accounts. I did never work for a big four. And in fact, my first job was I was a milk delivery guy. So I was working in a transportation, a delivery company.
Are you in Brazil? Where are you?
Back in Brazil. I was born in Curitiba, which is a city 1 hour south of São Paulo by flight. It's a capital of a state. It's a 3 million people city, and it's very European colonized. And that's where I grew up. And the family business was on the milk delivery, and that was my first job. And when I was 20, 21, I thought that was my career for the next 20, 30 years, working in the milk delivery industry. And it took a turn. And as many family business, I was not so excited about the future of that company. And I started to make sure I prepare myself for a job. And then there are some boxes I needed to tick. Like English was not a language that I would dominate. And so I start focus on learning English. While I was
And your native
learning,
tongue is Portuguese.
Portuguese, Brazil, and I grew up speaking German at home.
Huh?
So, and then I went to a German school. So now I need to pick it up again. Now living in Vienna, I need to relearn it because I haven't touched it for 3 decades. But yeah, that was my first language together with Portuguese.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt, but that's interesting for us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The south of Brazil is a very interesting country. So northeast Brazil, it's more like it's more like local culture and so on. And south of Brazil, it's very Italian, German, Polish, Ukrainian even.
Huh?
So and then I went after studying English, and then by reading a lot, I also understood MBA would be a good thing that I should do. My undergrad is also in business, and finance has been always something I love to do. And I thought, okay, now I need to prepare myself. How do I get to an MBA? So that was at 23, 24. So, okay, I need to have a relevant experience in a company before I get my MBA. Between undergrad and the MBA, I need to have a stint in a company that makes sense. That's when Chrysler came to my life. And I was really curious to work for an American company because the whole processes, methodology. I still remember SQDCM. It's like safety, quality, deliver, cost, and morale. So 25 years ago, and I still remember the sequence, how important it was on the company. I learned a lot there, and I started in the factory. Then they moved me to the office in São Paulo. And in other countries it's natural, but in Brazil, when you are not in São Paulo, you always aim to move to São Paulo. That's our big city. That's where all the business is, and they moved me there, and that was exactly when the merger with Daimler happened. And
Hmm.
and I was fortunate enough that I was preparing myself to get accepted in the MBA school, and exactly during this merger, and I had a boss at Chrysler. He said, "Okay, if you want to take Friday afternoon sometimes off to dedicate yourself to study, just go ahead." So, but in fact, in my career, what I always had is great people around me, and in all the companies I worked for. So that really helped me a lot. So I spent 4 years with Chrysler, and I got accepted in my MBA. And then I thought, okay, great. Now I go to the US, spent 2 years there, and then I stayed there. I wanted to go to banking, consulting, and so on.
I'm
That
sorry.
was
So you went to, I know you went to Wharton. Is that right?
yes, in Philadelphia. Yes.
But did you stay in the States? It looks like you weren't here very long, but I think you just said
No.
there were some consulting or banking opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's and I went in 2000. You were talking about geography and so on. It was April 2002 when I went to Wharton. And my father, it was like 6 months or seven after September 11, and he asked me, "Are you sure you want to go? Is it safe?" And I told him, I live in São Paulo. So if you live in São Paulo, there's nothing that can scare you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spent only the 2 years, and I was open to stay in the US.
Yeah.
But at the end, Brazil was in a big boom. 2004, the first 2002 till 2010, they were great years. And I
Can I
decided,
ask you about your business school choice? I'm sorry, it's just too good. You coming from
yeah.
Brazil and looking at the academic institutions in America, and of course you go to Wharton, a
Mhm.
top business school, but where was it the obvious choice for you, or everything you heard, or your advisors, your mentors, who they may
Mhm.
have been at the time, saying, "Great, go to Wharton," or was there another one in the mix that perhaps you wanted to?
Yeah, no, I did apply to six different schools, and I selected them very pretty well. I mean, they were all top schools, some for different reasons. So Michigan was the one I applied because it was in Detroit. It was connected to the auto industry, and it's a great school as well. Uh, but my part of my criteria was the school needed to be strong in finance, and the second one, it had to be a top school because in my mind, leaving my job for 2 years, leaving the country for 2 years, if it's not to go to top school, then I rather wouldn't go. So that was my mindset. That's why I applied to those schools. If I wouldn't be accepted in any one of those six, I would just not go. And I always play around. Maybe there was an admission mistake. I don't know, but I got end up being accepted, and there I was. It was a dual degree together with the Lauder Institute in International Studies, where we spent a
You,
month in Mexico and Chile as well.
oh, really? Wild. Given what you've shared so far, I don't think you have any misgivings about that choice. You
No,
wouldn't
no,
have
no.
changed it. What happened? Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I think every single job I got after that was thanks also for either directly people I met there or people that I
Wow.
met there that knew people. It was a very so the network is very interesting. Of course, you learn a lot as well, but you also you leave there feeling very very powerful. You take more risks. You go and so on, which I think at a young age it only helps you. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. You just touched on something I want to ask you. And again, this is unique to your story. You mentioned how there were a lot of connections and networking from having attended.
Yeah.
And I think this is true. A lot of academic institutions do have these active alumni networks offshore. It's more like
Mhm.
you have a common link with somebody from Wharton in a
Yeah.
different part of the world because, like you, they're making choices and building an international career rather than maybe a domestic one. How am I doing? Is that accurate, or would you look at it? Were you trying to
Yeah.
say something differently?
No, totally. That's how it happens. And even once you get there, so I'm still in the WhatsApp group of Wharton alumni of Malaysia, of UAE, of Brazil, and now I'm looking forward to the Germany Austria one. So and you exchange a lot. You get insights. You get business opportunities. You get asked for help, and it's a nice open exchange environment. But even if you don't move to a place, if you go to the alumni network, you're gonna find people all over the globe that and usually people are very open, and it's a very fortunate network to have.
From what you've already shared with us, it seems like you have your mindset on finance, and that was part of
Yeah,
the reason you chose Wharton, as you explained.
yeah.
Is it the same thing as you come out of business school? Sometimes business school has a way of refocusing people or
Mhm.
making people reassess their original plans. Not your case, though. Finance was still where you were headed. Yep.
Yeah, no, it was still yes. I wanted to do finance. I focus. My major was in finance. It's still exactly what I enjoy. I like it. And there's a story also. When I was about to graduate, I knew a person in the HR department of Kraft Foods, nowadays Mondelez.
Right.
And I sent that person my resume because he came from the bank industry and I knew he had a lot of contacts. So it was a person I knew. I said, okay, take my resume, share with your colleagues in banks because I want to go to the banking industry. Instead, he shared it with the CFO of Kraft in Brazil, and which was a Wharton alumnus as well. And then the guy ended up saying, no, let me talk to him. And I ended up working there for almost 4 years at Kraft. So it was not my plan at all.
Well, wow. That so right away it paid. Sort your the network is connecting you to jobs, and you become sort of an FP&A. How would you characterize you're more or less FP&A. You're not
Yes,
in the
yes.
accounting world at all anymore.
No,
Yeah,
no. My whole
yeah.
background was always in FP&A budget, FP&A, or a little bit treasury, but mostly FP&A. Yes.
And you remain in Brazil for is it a decade or before you go offshore? Or is it less?
Yeah, it was 12 years, yeah, 2004. So Kraft was back in Curitiba, my hometown. Spent there in Curitiba another 6 years, 2004 till 10, and then 6 years in Sao Paulo, 2010 till 16, and then I moved to Malaysia.
Tell us a little bit about the first CFO opportunity, how it came your way. Was it a recruiter? Was it a connection, as we've been
Yeah.
discussing? Or tell us how you felt you were prepared to step into that office.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I was working in for Positivo, which is a Brazilian computer assembler manufacturer, and my wife was actually transferred to São Paulo on her company, a Canadian conglomerate. And she told me, "Hey, I'm moving to São Paulo. Are you coming or not?" So I said, "Okay, I better go." So I decided to quit my job and look for opportunities. And a private equity company in São Paulo, they called me and say, "Hey, I got your resume from two different people, two people I trust a lot. They're not related, not connected. I don't know how, but your resume came from those two people. I want to talk to you. So good. We had a conversation, and at the end, they offered me not the job, but the opportunity to explore a job, which would be the CFO of one of their portfolio companies, which is a timber company in Brazil. And I thought, oh my God, I don't think I can even explore that. So why is that? So because my wife is the legal of another timber company, which is competitor of this company. So I don't think it's a good idea at all. The first reaction, well, is that a problem? I think it is. It's. Can you imagine dinner at home and what would like legal and finance? It wouldn't work. So then they said,
Did she
okay.
think so as well? Yeah.
Yeah. Even yes, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. And then I said, okay, we have another company in our portfolio that also needs a CFO, and that was my first CFO role, which is a fintech. They do software for the banking and investing industry, and they are in seek of a new CFO. Do you want to talk to them? And so I did. And talking about stories, this company was called Senior Solution, and there was another company in Brazil called Senior Systems. I spent the whole weekend preparing myself for Senior Systems, and when I went in the interview, I was very well prepared. And I started talking about the company, and 5 minutes after that, the founder and CEO told me, "You prepared for the wrong company." And and I said, okay, so if I would be you, I would just stop the interview right now, and that's it. Right? So it's no point in continuing. The guy cannot even prepare to the right company. And he said, no, actually, I'm enjoying the conversation. Let's keep talking and let's see how it goes. So that's how I ended up landing in my first CFO position in Brazil.
What was the nature of the other company? Or
It was also so the other company was an ERP, a Brazilian ERP company, and this was software applications for banks. So not too far, but not close enough.
yeah, different company. Again, and it's a relationship with is it a private equity firm or just an investor, or that did I understand correctly?
Yeah, there was a private equity shareholder of this company, Senior, and they were part of the board as well. And then they introduced my resume to the founder and CEO.
And you explained this, and maybe I wasn't listening carefully, but again, it was a big deal. Your wife or maybe she's your fiance, I don't know at that time, but she's saying, get back to Sao Paulo. And you are, at the time, you were with Mondelez and other companies in this other city of Brazil. Is that right? So you're kind of, how far away was that?
It's 400 kilometers. Yeah, it's 1 hour flight.
Curitiba?
Yeah. Curitiba, yeah. And there isn't even, sorry to cut, but even a quick step before that. So there's Curitiba, São Paulo, and Rio. So it's another 1 hour flight. And I was looking for a job in São Paulo, and then suddenly I found a job, and I called my wife. Oh, I got a job. Great, I can move from Curitiba. And she says, "Oh, I'm so happy." I said. Then I told her, but it's in Rio. And then I had to do like this with the phone because the reaction was not so good.
She wasn't happy.
No, but then I didn't go. Didn't actually join that company in Rio, so I ended up in São Paulo. Yeah.
We want to understand how you eventually move offshore. How did that happen? And let's jump to your last CFO chapter, perhaps in Brazil. What happened there that suddenly you're headed to, I think, Malaysia, I guess?
After 4 years, I had my second in charge, very strong professional, FP&A, ready to take over. And I told my boss, say, this guy, Rafael, he's ready. He can take over. I can move on, and everyone is happy. And they said, no, but okay. But what about Malaysia? Would you like to move to Malaysia to take care of our business in finance of the business in Southeast Asia, where they bought two competitors and they merged them and they needed a CFO. Then I thought, okay, that's not what I expected from this conversation, and I was never aiming to move to Southeast Asia. But then I told my wife, "Hey, I'm going to Malaysia. You want to join me? It's your turn to join me." So No,
She said yes.
she thought I was kidding till she realized I was really talking serious stuff, and we ended up spending 4 years there. Our youngest kid was born there. We had an amazing time there. Learned a lot. Learned how to do business. So it was actually 4 years in Brazil and 4 years in Malaysia working for the same group, but totally different geography, different jobs. I needed to learn. In Malaysia, when people say yes, it can mean yes, maybe no. It can mean many things. Not that the Brazilians are the most direct people, but the Malaysians, it's even less so. And I had to learn that, and it was not in the beginning. It was tough because you get frustrated, you frustrate other people, but you learn and you mature a lot in the process.
Up till you're leaving for Malaysia, what is the language of business for you? I mean, are you speaking English? Are you speaking? I would think it's English,
Yeah,
Portuguese,
yeah,
local.
yeah,
I don't know. Tell us
yeah.
something about your language skills and how they've continued to have to evolve. I guess is what I'm curious.
Yeah, so German was my first language. Then during the MBA, I also picked up Spanish. There was a special program, so I did pick up that as well, at least some level of Spanish. And yes, after the MBA, when I was working in American companies like Mondelez and Chrysler before, it was always English the language. Out of that, it was up to 2016 always Portuguese in the other companies, and then from there onwards English again in
Yeah.
Malaysia and also in the UAE.
Well, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I think we might make some assumptions, and it's just not the case. Who are you becoming as a CFO? Are you involved in acquisitions? Are you and again, are you an M&A CFO?
Mhm.
Are you a just a global, someone who can operate globally clearly? So you're thought to be someone who we can move around the country. I don't know. What's your CFO brand becoming? Who are you? Yeah.
Good question. Yeah, I like to do M&A. I did a couple, but I'm not an M&A. I'm not a deal maker. That's not my DNA. What I see myself and I see the value I've been delivering in the companies is mostly being the business partner, understanding the business in and out, understanding all the moving parts that help improving profitability, improving revenue growth, and so on. Having these discussions, these close discussions with other stakeholders, the CEO, the COO, and product marketing, technology. In the last 12 years, I have been in 13 years. I have been in technology in marketplaces, and it's a exciting dynamic. It's an amazing business to be in because as a finance person, you don't have inventory, material in transit, work in progress. You don't have anything like that. It's you deal. Your product is your website, and the metrics work in the internet world. You have data for everything. You can try and test, and you have the answers of your experiments right away. It's just amazing. It's an amazing industry. So I see myself as a business partner, as someone that can sit together with the different areas of the organization and discuss how we can improve and things. Not a cost cutter, even though sometimes you need to do that, but it's more about partnering with the business and value creation.
Is there, as you oversee the finance function, you move to Malaysia, you're getting a sense of this company that was acquired and how it operates. You're identifying maybe some of the weaknesses within, the finance operation and understanding we could do better here. We could hire someone maybe overseeing that. Are there other options available to you? Meaning, here, in one country, it might not be uncommon to outsource some of the accounting or what have you, or bring in a consultant to help with this. It wouldn't be a second thought in certain parts of the world. Whereas in another geography, maybe that's not how we do it. I don't know. Is it different? How is the role maybe a little different? Oh.
Yeah, no. During my career, I constantly engage with consultants because they do one quick example. Back in Brazil, we did have a call center of 700 people in the job portal, and and it was intense, and I knew there were inefficiencies, but I also knew I did not have all the expertise to go and change. So we hired consultants, and a 3-4 months project, we really reduced 30% of the workforce without impacting the deliverables. So that was sometimes I think you need to know where you have some I wouldn't call it weaknesses, but gaps of knowledge, technical knowledge, and then you bring the consultants. And you always need to know when to send the consultants off as well. So otherwise they stay too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
you need to rely on the expertise of consultants here and there. Yeah.
You spend nearly 4 years in Malaysia, I believe,
Yeah.
and then you move to Dubai,
Yeah.
where you make another investment of nearly 4 years or 4 years.
4 years.
So these are 4 year blocks. Your kid's
Mhm.
growing up.
Yes.
And you're, and of course, we mentioned you're now in Vienna. The move to Dubai, did that come up suddenly? Tell us a little bit about your thinking and what was the opportunity?
Yeah, so there was my last 12 months in Malaysia. I was looking at it was time to, because when you have seen everything almost in the business, I was not interested in working in a different company in Malaysia itself, and I was getting to the conclusion that I did what I had to do. And I put a checklist of what kind of company would interest me. Some things like I want the founder still to be in the company. I love companies where the founder is still there. But I also want a reputable private equity or venture capital associated, because I want governance and compliance in place and so on. I want it to be in an exciting business that can grow, and I wanted to be in a geography that I can see myself and so on. So that I was having maybe 10 things or 8 things in a box, and when the opportunity in Dubai came, so every single one of those boxes were ticked, and then it became so clear. Yes, I want to go to this move to this company, and it was a no-brainer.
So thank you so far for mentioning your family along the way, because I think that's an important part in these decisions. Clearly, you mentioned your wife, I think, was in the legal profession. Is she still able to do legal work abroad? If that's an appropriate question, I mean,
Yeah.
is she finding opportunities, or is she happy to be not have the stress of a full time position? Don't know.
Yeah. So when we moved to Malaysia, we had a 4 years old, a 2 years old, and she was pregnant of the third one. So
Oh wow.
and we
Okay.
decided, of course, in Malaysia, the first 2-3 years, please just let's make sure we can spend all your time and energy with the kids. And we were fortunate enough that we could afford that, because the kids value it. So that was in Malaysia, and when we moved to Dubai, she never wanted to go back to corporate life and legal.
Yeah,
Also because unlike finance, legal is a common law, and so it's different,
that's right. That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot replicate. So Malaysia and UAE are not countries where the Brazilian base really help you. But she became an entrepreneur, and together with a partner, they have a online store of Brazilian swimwear, bikinis and swimwear for ladies. So they're having fun, and the business is growing. So it's good.
Is there a like a thriving expat community in Dubai? I would imagine. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So in the UAE, only 10% of the people are locals, are Emiratis.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
90% are foreigners.
Interesting.
Yes, it's a big, yeah. And foreigners you have from all kind of diversity, all kind of backgrounds. In yeah, even the Brazilian community is big here. The British community is very big here as well. So
Huh.
it's a melting pot in cultures and
And many of them have resumes like yours, no doubt, as well. People who lived in different parts of the world.
yeah. It's because you have either expats that the companies send here, or people that try their luck here. I heard already people say that Dubai is the real place of opportunities, and it is very open. You come do business, and it's growing very fast. So it's a very exciting place to be as well.
Curious about the business opportunities that attract you to CFO roles now, though.
Mhm.
Now that you're in Dubai and the company is called Property Finder, is that right?
I
And
was.
And we're going to ask you about TourRadar, which is the most recent company, which triggered another move. So you step into a CFO role in Vienna. But right now, let's tell us a little bit about Property Finder and what was that opportunity in Dubai.
Yeah. So one thing, and again, into Radar is the same. So a marketplace is a very exciting place. So a job portal or a real estate portal, which is Property Finder, the business dynamics are very, very, very similar. I mean, you have your customers like either a recruitment agency and you have the candidates. In Dubai here you have the property agencies and you have the home seekers, and you play a role of making a marketplace that is efficient, that is attractive on both sides, and that you can also monetize properly. So the dynamics are very, very similar on both of them.
So you're saying that these are similar because they're marketplaces, and you mentioned the data. You mentioned it's really about studying the customer experience, something we talk to finance leaders a good deal about. But that's really a specialization for you today. Would that be right?
Exactly. No, exactly. And again, like I mentioned before, if you work in manufacturing or in the industry, there's so many things that don't impact directly the customers that you as a finance person, you need to really be very on top, and they really drain a lot of your time and energy because inventory efficiency and production, if you're not on top, you can, I mean, all the profit of the company can be gone. In this business and technology, you don't have anything like that. It's all about instant experience to the consumer, instant feedback from the consumer, and that's just amazing. And my move to Radar in Vienna, it's even one step further because unlike the other businesses I was before, TourRadar is global. So TourRadar, we source the tours. We some people use the name tours or organize adventures globally, right? From a wine tour in Tuscany to a safari in Africa to Iceland, globally, anywhere in the globe. And the travelers or the consumers are also globally. So our site has global reach in both sides, and that is even more exciting.
Well, it's about that time. I should be asking you about Tour Radar. What is this company? What does it do exactly? What are its offerings?
Yeah, yeah. So we are a marketplace and we work together with operators. We have in our site 2,500 operators. For example, my wife and the kids, they just went to Cairo and a cruise in the Nile, and I booked it through to Radar, of course. So from the point you arrive the airport to the point you're back to the airport, they take care of everything. Right? And in countries where sometimes the language you don't speak, and even to understand the history, understand what's behind the monuments and so on, if you try to do it on your own, it's painful. And if you go in an organized adventure, you can choose. You join a group. You are a group of 5. You're gonna join a bigger group of 15. You can do it, or you can do a private group with your own family only and a private guide, or you can even do personalized. So say, oh, I like that, but I don't want to stop in that city and that city. I want to go somewhere else. So that all can be through our site. It can all be either tailor made or more mass, but you can find the right tool anywhere in the globe and you can be part of it.
And can you give us maybe a short history of its capital structure, or who's behind this company, and has it raised money? I think it has. I think you're up to a
It has.
particular series. What would you say?
Yeah, the company was launched in 2010 by two brothers, Travis and Sean Pittman, the founders. And after that, they did have some rounds of first the seed investor and so on. They had a number of rounds and different groups of venture capital and private equity invested in the group.
Now, again, if you would mind, who is the typical customer? And is there a customer mix?
That's a very good question. You may be a little bit surprised. The the internet world is usually it's the young, still the young people are the mainstream customers. You go to Instagram and Facebook and so on. 70% of our customers are 40 years and older, right? And almost 40% are 60 years or older. And there's a reason for that. So it's the ticket, the AOV, right? The average order value is around 3,000 plus $3,500. So of course, to afford that, and you go in a family, so it ends up being more a little bit older people, not older people, but it the target audience is everyone, but naturally we have this base of consumers that are actually very much seek for by many other companies. Many companies would love to have the same audience that we have, but all ages use our products, all geographies. We have our main market, our consumer market is North America, US. Almost 40% of the travelers come from the US, so it's a sizable market for us.
Is that, yeah, I mean, that's reflective of what? Disposable income,
Yeah,
company,
it's a mix of disposable income with what you can find there. Like I mean, a tour in Iceland in probably 18, 20 years old is not so interested. They will want to do something else, even though they should be interested. But so what you can find there, it's probably once you already did some of the basic, you already went to Paris, you already went to Disney, then you want to do something more exciting, I would say, or more entertaining.
So is this business about renewable revenues? I mean, customer renewals, customers coming back for more trips. What's a successful customer experience determined by?
Yes, yes. So again, it's different than if you order food on delivery that you may order 5 times in a week. A trip like this, which is usually from 7 to 15 days, you don't do it every month. You don't do it every year, even, right? So what? So my daughter came here now. So so in 1 year, the return is very low. But since we have been around for longer, we already see a significant number of returning customers. So which is it's very exciting. It's very good to see because it just shows the experience they had was positive. They enjoyed it and are coming back. So every year we are seeing that metric growing.
Will you be raising some additional money?
It's right now at this moment. I mean, there is no discussion on that, but eventually it can be part of the future growth.
We want to quickly touch on AI with you. And can you tell us, has AI already been integrated into this company's operations? And what would you tell us?
Yes, 100%. So we do have a very important part of our business, which is customer support. And we are seeing AI, and we are already engaging AI can help us deliver. I mean, improve the quality, improve the speed, everything. So it's usually finance people are a little bit skeptical about new things. This one, it's hard to debate. This one is really easy to get on board of it. So we are engaged, and we will leverage on that soon.
Can you give us maybe an example, just as far as the customer experience is concerned?
Yeah, so it's the main usage in the beginning will be on the customer journey to convert to a booking, and in this journey there's all kind of questions. So, how long is the trip? Which hotel will I stay? So there are many questions that today we still talk to them and one by one with person but we can automate that and use it. It's the journey from visiting our site to converting into a traveler.
We want to jump to our finance strategic moment question, where we'll ask you just one moment of insight that you experienced along the way in your long career. You might have had 3 of these already, but we're just looking for one finance strategic moment. 3 of these already today, I meant to say. Anything come to mind when we ask for a finance
Yeah,
strategic moment?
and I was thinking about this, and I think I need a aha moment, something big, and so on. And I could not think about something that wow, but what I do know is the strategic moment is the consistency in understanding more and more the business, understanding more and more what moves the business, what impacts the business, not having a mindset only in finance. Then, without realizing it, you start adding value. You start bringing questioning to. I like to ask questions, and it's a great way of finding out, bringing the discussion or elevating the discussion to something that can be problem solving. So I think the consistency of being interested in the business and how the business operates, how we deliver value to the consumer, I think that is more important than any one moment financial impact or so on, at least from my experience in the business.
That curiosity, and I'm just thinking how your set of questions perhaps have changed, have evolved over time. When you step into a new role today, the types of questions that you asked the finance team or you ask other senior executives might have been very different from the ones you asked as you first stepped into your first CFO role. You have all these
Yeah.
years of experience.
If you ask me, the core or the point of the questions did not change so much, but the how did change a lot. And if I look back in my first CFO, I was very critical and very challenging and very almost pushing people and almost making them feel they uncomfortable, not intentionally, but I if I look back, that's what happened. Today, I prefer to use an approach much more engaging, much more, hey, tell me more about it. How does this work? How that work? And prevent myself from questioning too much or criticizing at least, because I need to understand the background. I need to understand why we do things the way we do. The fact that I came fresh in the company and have a different background doesn't mean it's better. It's different, and I need to understand everything we do, why we do it, and the way I ask the questions nowadays, they are better perceived. I can see that than the way I did it 10, 15 years ago.
37,025 1. These are the three numbers to remember to get the visibility and control you need to make the right business decisions instantly. 37,000. That's the number of businesses which have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25. NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down expenses. 1. Because your business is one of a kind, you should get a customized solution for all of your KPIs in one efficient system and with one source of truth. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need, all in one place. Right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance, absolutely free, at netsuite.com/KPI. That's netsuite.com/KPI.
As someone who's done this time and again now in different geographies, it's like you have a fresh perspective every time you step into the role. But time and again, you know, are they all the same? What's different? Yeah.
I think something you only learn with experience, but if I could shortcut, and 15 years ago in my first assignment, if someone would tell me, hey, Jakson, don't overthink, don't overanalyze, you don't need our level of details to take a decision. Just go, take decisions. And of course, you mainly as a finance person, we know which decisions will put the company at risk and we will not take them. But all the other ones, you can take so many other decisions without overthinking, over analyzing so much, and move faster. With that, you move faster, the company moves faster. You're also seen in the company not as someone that's a blocker, you're seen as someone that's it's a doer together with the different areas. So move faster. If you fail, learn from it, come again, and that's it. So don't overanalyze too much. Finance people, we tend to overanalyze too much.
So you've only recently joined, really, TourRadar. Is Vienna going to be home now? Are you folks settling in?
Yes, I am in back and forth because my family will still be in Dubai till July. But I'm most of my time already in Vienna, and it's such a lovely place. And the kids, I convinced them through two things: snow and Champions League. So with those two things, they are happy to go.
And the language in the office place these days would be?
Yeah, the official language is English. We do have executives from North America. The founders are Australians. Yes, English is the daily the language in the business, and we do have office in Brisbane and in Toronto. So yes, it's in English.
Have you, as you made these moves, have recruiters been involved, or is it always sort of relationships and investors and bigger network?
The last two moves, yes, recruiters. The move in Dubai and the move now in Toronto, in Vienna. It's with a recruiter.
Your experience in Dubai and your just the social community there, other professionals, is it recruiters who are largely helping them move around the world and relocate? Yeah.
Yeah, and in Dubai specifically, recruiters play a big role because people that come here, many have no network at all in the region, and they need to keep bringing more and more professionals to the region. So that's the recruiters play a big role here. Yes.
Well, I feel like sometimes I ask some more personal questions here, but we've been asking those types of questions all along the way. So we appreciate you sharing some facts about your family and your wife's profession and what have you. So that's all very interesting to our listeners. We are running out of time, so I want to just jump to our final question. And I apologize, I was long. Looking forward the next 12 months, and we know you're just stepping into the role, but we'd love to know your priorities as CFO of TourRadar. What would those be?
Grow, and grow. Support the business in the accelerated growing process that we already are in. Then, second, take care of the margins. Make sure you grow in a healthy way with that is sustainable, that we can reinvest in the business properly. And not in that order, but also, of course, the team. Keep developing the team, keep working closely with the team and other teams as well, so that as an organization we keep growing consistently together. So I think these are the three things that come together.
Jakson Peters, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
Thank you very much, Jack, for having me.
Hello, Thought Leader listeners. We hope 2024 is treating you well. If you haven't already, we hope you'll pay a visit to CFOThoughtLeader.com and go ahead and subscribe to our Mentoring Round newsletter, where we highlight the career lessons and moments of strategic insight shared by our recent CFO guests. Also, LinkedIn users, please go ahead and follow our CFO Thought Leader company page, and you'll be certain not to miss a single Thought Leader video debut. CFO Thought Leader, the #1 thought leadership platform exclusively for and by CFOs. As always, thank you for listening.